Hello, my name is Victor Nordstrom, and I'm here to present License3D. And what we do is we use blockchain to protect 3D files during their whole life cycle. So License is founded by Pepius de la Rosa, who's a professor at the University of Girona, who's actually originally developed this technology for other uses. He's one of the gurus in Spain regarding blockchain. And myself, I'm Victor Nordstrom. Previously, I've been working within the 3D space for quite some time. I'm the founder of a company called Clever. And there we actually had encountered one of the biggest problems, and I learned one of the biggest things, which is that 3D files actually are one of the most important assets within any 3D process, because it has all the competitive advantages, all the patents, and any intellectual property linked to the file. The problem is that 3D files are digital files, which means they're as easy to steal as an MP3 file, which we all know the problem with that. And it's because within companies, almost all of us don't use the right security processes, but also we have external threats like hacks. And actually within manufacturing, 1 in 5 companies are hacked every year. This market is very big, and 3D printing especially was seen as a threat to IP. Gartner estimated this to be, in 2018, 100 billion, maybe a very high number, but definitely could be a potential problem because of that the intellectual property of the files could be stolen. And that's not only a problem for the actual owner of the 3D file, but actually for the adoption of 3D printing itself. So what we've done is we use blockchain to do the following. So from the actual design of a 3D model, we have a plugin that connects everybody else involved in the production chain, including the 3D printer, in a blockchain. So 3 things happen there. We protect the actual data so it's not stolen. We demonstrate who the file belongs to, but more importantly, how it's used. So for example, if I'm the original designer of this Rhino, and if somebody only paid me 3 times to 3 copies of that file, I get paid 3 times. And the blockchain protects me and shows what has happened. And if something goes wrong, the open ledger of the blockchain will show that. And as you can see, there's no impact. License works just inside the application. There's a web-based administration tool, which pretty much works as a file system. Just that all the smart contracts, all the rights are smart contracts. In other words, it's very, very easy, intuitive to use. The impact is almost 0 on the users. And as you can see, we're viewing and printing files from the blockchain right now. So what's the value for manufacturers? Well, manufacturers, obviously, number 1, as I said before, is we control the distribution of the files. They're not stolen. Number 2, we prove that they belong to them. And number 3, they have control of how many times they've been printed. That's what we do. That's the easy equation for license. We're currently working with pilots with automotive manufacturers, jewelers, but we have other very large manufacturers and partners in the pipeline. And how we make money is by licensing. We license the platform, but currently we also have integration and development services to adapt to each case. The services will be smaller and smaller as our IP is actually what we're going to be doing. Our IP, by the way, is inherited from the University of Girona, and it concerns how we manage the files inside a blockchain. Blockchain is usually open source software, so that's not our differentiator. Our differentiator is how we manage it inside the blockchain. And this is a problem with a lot of competitors, but not everybody is using blockchain. And actually, QubiChain was very recently acquired, so this is space that moves very, very quickly. What we're looking to do is close our seed investment by the end of next first quarter of 2019. We already have a Mobile World Capital and a Petso Capital as investors. There's a very big first mover advantage in this space, so we're using this capital primarily to integrate the team from the university and fulfill the patent process that we have right now. And we're looking here for partners, hardware vendors that we can do demos with. So Ramon, I'm going to talk to you after this. But also printing partners and software vendors who want to integrate this to secure the IP of their clients. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions from the investors?
Questions?
Great presentation. Question. So, from one side, you talk a little bit about your business model. I would like a little bit for you to elaborate a little bit on this. And the second question is, what changes do you need from the CAD vendors or the hardware vendors to make this connection possible?
Okay, so our business model, we are a business-to-business company, so we actually, the end user probably never sees license because we can white label it without a problem. And that's, so we license it in for example, in the case of a hardware vendor, it would be white labeled to the vendor or to the software vendor. When it comes to the changes, is for the CAD application, we install a plugin, so it limits the ability to save anywhere else. And that kind of also has a little bit to do with, in large industrial implementations, where they want to close the loop of security. But in the case, the plugin I showed you, which is Rhino, we don't add functionality, we take away. They can only save in one place. So that closes it there. And within the printer, there's two things. First stage is, in the case of HPA, I'm a little familiar with what you do, but the first integration is with the actual distribution of the work to the printers, and the next stage is with the processors at the printers. And what we've done, this is a little technical, but what we do is we don't distribute the actual file. In the blockchain is the smart contracts, so we don't need a lot of processing capability. And also because this is a permissioned blockchain, it's not the whole world connected to it. You don't have the problems of miners or bandwidth or electricity consumption. This is a very secure, controlled network, which is controlled by the vendor who's providing to their clients. Excuse me. More questions? Thank you.